Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Hey Everybody podcast. I am Christopher Gold. This is episode 60. You should know that by now. I'm Christopher Gold, and this podcast is called Hey Everybody because the very first time I shot one, that's how it started. That's how a lot of my things start. I say, hey, everybody, I'm Christopher Gold. If you are enjoying the podcast and you want to support the podcast, you could tell a friend. You can share it. You can comment on it. You can like it. If you want to pay for it, you can pay whatever you want. Venmo at Christopher Gold Music, PayPal Christopher at Christopher Gold. Now we're done with that. Let's have some coffee. Let's start the show off with a nice hot cup of coffee. I'm that age now. I take loud sips and then I go, as if I was surprised by the coffee that I chose to drink. I'm getting old and my amp is broken. And the upside of both is what we're going to talk about today. First, when I say I'm getting old, I just mean older than I used to be. I've been joking on stage that I'll be 38 in a couple weeks, which I'm not supposed to tell you because I'm trying to make a career in music. So I'm supposed to be 26 always. But this is getting grayer and grayer, you see? So at a certain point, it'll be impossible to convince anybody that I'm 26. I'm also not going to learn any of the necessary slang that I would have to know to convince people that I'm in my 20s. I don't know if something's lit or if it's fire or if it becomes fire after it's lit long enough, or I don't know. I say stuff is rad. So I'm not old, but I'm old young, I guess. You meet people that are 60 or 70 and they go, 38, come on. But you meet someone who's 25 and they go, 38, dude, yikes. I myself am not concerned. I like getting older. I like what my brain is doing as I get older. I like, there's certain things that you can't do unless you live long enough. For example, I love having a 12-year-old son, but I had to put in 12 years to get there. I loved having him at every age he was, but 12 has been really fun. And, I love where my marriage is at after 15 years and this sort of developing security and maturity and arguing less and that kind of thing, but it's still really exciting and fresh and it's great. I love getting old. Plus, I mostly play folk music. And Bob Dylan famously said, that he wrote some songs he wasn't quite old enough to sing. And when he finally was, he's very excited. So I don't care. I'm getting old, whatever. It's fine. But the inevitability of it is a nice thing because you have to just accept, like, I was 37, now I'm going to be 38, then I will be 39. This is how we experience time so far as I understand it. And having something like that, I think, has done a lot to help me get centered and mellow out a little bit because I just have this ever lengthening backlog of circumstances and situations that worked out okay because I am still here, and I'm still married and I'm still a father and I'm still playing music. So how bad could any of it have been, And you need to let yourself get older to get that perspective. And I'm very excited about what that perspective will feel like when I'm 50, I talk to younger people sometimes and I know it's frustrating, but the only advice you can give is just wait, there's all kinds of other advice. Don't pick at it, be bold, put a condom on. But mostly I think a lot of my problems, even if they haven't been solved, they have been somewhat defanged by my time here and my experiences and just the fact that I've made it this long, And I don't think I could have imagined my 60s and my 20s, but they're starting to become a little clearer in what that might look like. And it's not so scary. And it's inevitable, which is how we come to my amp. My amp is busted. It's in the shop right now. I have a few because I play guitar professionally and I have to have a few in case one of them gets busted. But this particular amp that's busted, I love it. It's brand new to me. It's brand new, period. It's a Fender 65 reissue Princeton, if you care. Now, I have loved the Fender sound my whole life, but I've never been able to find it. I tried to run through the list in my head this morning, and I think the Princeton is my 8th Fender amp, but it could be my 9th or 10th. It's at least my 8th. And finally, that's the sound. That's the sound I wanted. My Fender sound is the 65 Princeton. You know, treble at 7, bass at 4, volume at 4, reverb at 3, if you care. I love it. And I had it for 2 months, and it broke. It started making this weird sound. I brought it into my guy that I bring things into, my amp guy, and he's working on it. He's going to call me someday and let me know. In the meantime, I'm very fortunate to have a couple other very solid options that I like a lot. But when this amp broke, I was upset. Not even like angry. I wasn't stomping around. But there was an injustice done to me. This is brand new. It should work. It's broken. And seemingly not very easy to get fixed in a way that I think would be fair. It's hard to find a Fender authorized blah, 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 blah. And after a day or two of trying to figure out like how do warranty repairs even work, I just decided, you know what? The hell with it. I'm going to bring it to the guy that I've always brought my amps to, and I'm just going to pay the guy to fix the amp because I don't want to mail it to Fender, which was looking like one of the possibilities. And I was very upset. This felt unfair. It felt like I held up my end of the deal in paying for the amp. And you should have made... The example I gave to Tori is like, if I got an email the day after a show from somebody who said, hey, I bought a CD from you and I put it in the player, it just doesn't work. Or I opened it up and it was empty. My response would be, what is your address? I'm getting in the car to bring you a new CD, a couple other CDs, and a handwritten apology / thank you note. I feel so bad when I, put something of mine out there and it comes back bad. I got to get that fixed. And I felt very upset that a lot of the companies that I interact with via my purchases, it doesn't always feel like they feel that way. Maybe they do. I don't know. But what I kept coming back to, and it's a tenet of Stoicism, which is something I study quite a bit and talk to my dad about quite a bit, is that all you can control is how you react to the situation. And this is where I think getting older comes in handy, because in addition to my ever-lengthening backlog of survived situations and circumstance, I also have this ever-lengthening backlog of times I got so upset and it didn't matter. It just didn't matter. There's no size tantrum I could have that will fix an amp. If there was, John McEnroe, the tennis player, he'd have a great amp repair business on the side. He's cranky, if you don't get that joke. He's known for his fits. Tennis, man. I don't understand it. I really don't understand sports that aren't football. I love football, though. And I like going to hockey games. We were at a hockey game once. We lucked into tickets like right behind the glass, right behind the goal. We're very excited. This is where all the action is. And we're sitting there, and I have a beer in my hand. And for somehow, I just, I drift off sometimes. Either because in my head I'm, watching The Clash in '78, or I'm writing a song, or thinking about petting a horse. And I drifted off, and I'm holding this beer. And these two massive Canadian dudes just slammed into the glass like this far from my face. And because I had totally forgotten they were there, it startled me. And I went, oh, jeez. And beer goes flying everywhere. And for a minute, I was like, I I'm embarrassed and I look dumb and I'm covered in beer. But then I just keyed right into like, that's pretty funny. And I'm telling you the story now, and we laugh about it to this day. Oliver thinks it's hilarious. That's a bit of a side road. Anyways, in that situation, getting mad was not going to dry me off. Getting mad was not going to keep me from feeling like 100 people seated above me watched that happen, and they're judging me, and it's terrible. And in the same way, getting mad, my amp is broken. That's it. And so many of these situations, when I approach them the way I approach age, like, you are going to be 38 or you're going to die. Those are your two options. Which would you prefer? And these days, I prefer 38. And when I approach everything with that idea of inevitability, and then the truth that I only get to decide how I react to this. If I really wanted like justice and fairness, I could wait a couple days to hear back from Fender to see if they want to replace the amp. But then I got to worry that 2 months later, this same thing's going to happen. Or I could pay like $100 to mail them the amp and be without it for possibly months until they mail it back. And what if it gets damaged in the shipping process and all this stuff? Or I can take my lumps, I can swallow down my pride and my ego and my sense of justice, and I can drive it to a guy who I trust a lot, pay him a little bit of money. He'll not only fix it, he'll give it the once over, and he'll give me some assuredness that not only is this problem fixed, I won't be surprised by other problems. It'll be great. It is not fair. It is not just. But I get to be happy again. I get to go, the hell with it. I'm going to bring it to my guy. Screw it. And then I get to just move on. And I want to move on. The older I get, the more set I am on like, I don't want to be sad or angry or anxious or frustrated. And I know there will be times where I don't get a say. It's not really up to me. Someday someone will die or get hurt, or I will be deeply wronged, and it'll be out of my control if I'm sad or angry or whatever. I think sometimes the Stoics, it's a little unrealistic to think in every situation you can, and maybe they nailed it. I don't know. I cannot. And Stoicism is just a small part of what I'm working with. I've talked before about how if you find one thing off the shelf philosophically that just works for you, congratulations, hallelujah. I have my doubts. People are too complicated for that. But Stoicism is a part of it. So when I can, I try to give myself perspective and scale and then control my reaction accordingly. Yeah. Son of a bitch. While I was talking about how I don't get upset when... Hello. While I was talking about how I don't get upset when things break, my camera broke. It didn't break. It just stopped working. As things do. And I'm happy to say I didn't flip out or anything. I immediately kind of saw the humor in it. But man, oh man, if I believed that something was in control of all this, I'd be pretty upset. What are you trying to do to me? So, that's a great example. I don't want to be upset about this. I just want to finish the podcast, and I want to edit it and give it to you guys and go about my day. I'm going to take a walk. There's an errand I have to run. And with the new place, I realized it's walkable, and I'm very excited. I don't know if you know this about me. I lived in England for a spell when I was 18, 19. I lived there for about a year and a half, all told. And I think probably my favorite thing about it was all the walking. You could walk just about everywhere where I lived, in Manchester. We'll talk about it more later. In the meantime, take an example from old Uncle Biscuits here and just, I don't want to continue my years angry. I don't like being angry. There's this rush you get from it if you're honest, that it feels kind of good to go on a tear and this and that and but it doesn't feel good afterwards, and it's not very productive during. And there's better things I could be doing. Listening to music, making music, reading, writing. Been writing a lot more poetry lately that maybe someday I'll figure out how to get to you guys. We'll see. In the meantime, I would encourage you when you can, because again, I don't think it's realistic to do it always. But when you can, get that perspective, put the problem on a scale of, burnt toast to dead loved one, and put it in its proper place, and then understand that you get to decide how to react, especially the lower on that scale it is. And if you're watching this, the likelihood that your average daily problem is fairly low scale, I know this upsets people sometimes, is pretty high. I know a lot of the people watching this have had real problems, and I've had real problems, but I'm talking in my day-to-day, the things that, my broken camera, my broken amp, my slight inconvenience, my traffic, all this kind of stuff, I try to put that in perspective, and I encourage everyone else to put that in perspective. And then be honest with yourself. Do you want to be mad? Do you want to be sad? Do you want to be racked with nerves? And then try to decide not to be. That's where I'm at. I might be somewhere different tomorrow. If this goddamn camera breaks again, I might just huck it into the river. But I have no other option. I could try shooting it on my phone. I'd be intrigued. I had to get a new phone some time ago, fairly recently, and I'm told the camera's really something. I don't take a lot of pictures or videos. Oliver was doing something really cool the other day, and I tried to take a video of it, and I totally dadded it, and I thought I was starting the camera and then stopping it, but I was just taking 2 pictures. So I have a picture of him right at the beginning of this very cool thing he did, and right at the end. Maximum dad. Let's do some recommendations and get you out of here. I think I'm going to go get a burrito. First, this is very cool. I discovered this. My wife and I are both on a bit of an Emmylou Harris kick. I've loved her for a long time, and my wife is just kind of sort of leaning into her enjoyment of Emmylou Harris and picking up stuff and checking out new stuff. She found the record she did with Mark Knopfler, which I was not that familiar with, and we both just love it. And then she found this at the record store, which is Emmylou Harris and the Nash Ramblers Ramble in Music City. This just came out, but it's a live record from 1990. And if you buy it on vinyl, which you should, and you open it up, you get this whole lovely story about how this record came to be. And the deal is, Emmylou in 1990, possibly 89, was feeling burned out. She was having some throat issues, all this kind of stuff. The legend Sam Bush, tremendous fiddler and mandolin player, was in the process of leaving his band, Newgrass Revival. And they sort of found each other and put together this bluegrass band called the Nash Ramblers. And they'd ever made a record, to my knowledge, but they made these 2 live records, and this one was just discovered, and people didn't really know that it was in existence, and now it's here, and we get to enjoy it. Hallelujah. When God breaks a GoPro, he drops an Emmylou Harris record. But there's so much good stuff on here, and you should really check it out. I really like Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. I've always thought that was a great song. Blue Kentucky Girl is on here. There's some great covers. They do The Boxer. They do If I Needed You by Townes Van Zandt. It's really, really great. Yeah, I really, really think you should check it out. And I think you'll like it. And I've always felt like bluegrass was kind of meant to be experienced live. So get into that. Next. Oh, the Camera's wobbling now. Ooh. A professional would edit this out. I watch YouTube things, not a ton, but I watch some, and they're all so like clippy and jumpy and edity. I don't like it. It's one of the reasons this will never be successful, because I'm not going to do it the way you're supposed to do it. I much prefer like set up the camera and we'll have us a chat. And the camera will break and I will, repackage my rage and indignation as humor. But inside, I think we all know. Anyways, 2 records. Wham! These records are both by a gentleman named Andrew Marlin, who we've talked about in the past. He's one of my favorite modern mandolin players. He had a band for a long time that was called Mandolin Orange. It's now called Watch House. Someday we'll talk about the Watch House record. I think there's a lot to be said about it. But these are 2 of his 3 instrumental records, and the reason I have them both here is because they came out on the same day. And I ordered them a long time ago, and then COVID did what it did, and they finally came last week. This one is called Witching Hour, and this one is called Fable and Fire. And you can really see my light on this one, can't you? Look at that. Oh, but they're great. He got some wonderful people, including a fiddle player I like a lot named Christian Sadelmeyer. And let's just go ahead and say off of Fable and Fire, you should listen to Eerie Fiddler. Or maybe off of Witching Hour, you could listen to Hawk is a Mule. I think I'm going to stop including links for the specific song you should listen to, because what I really want you to do is listen to these records. So go wherever you go to listen to a record, Spotify, record store, what have you. And just remember that I said Hawk is a Mule or Eerie Fiddler or even Cowgirls Get the Blues, but listen to the whole record. I'm a huge proponent of full-length listens, and there are things that I thought I didn't like because I was just checking out a song here and a song there. And then a friend would say like, oh, you got to listen to the whole record. And when I did, I really enjoyed it. So there we go. We made it through. The camera's still working so far as I know. My coffee's almost gone. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting. If you want to talk, get in the comments or shoot me an email, Christopher@ChristopherGold.com. Same deal if you want to book a show, especially a house show, whatever. If you want to come see me live, check ChristopherGold.com for dates. I have to update them. If you want to celebrate my birthday together, October 15th, I'm playing a show on my birthday. If you want to watch me in real time, turn 38 years old, I'll be at the Forced Inn with a gentleman named Matt Davies, who I'm very excited to finally play with, and The Listening Party as a duo. It's sort of out near Forest Junction. It's a lovely drive. October 15th is like the mid-fall perfection. Leaves are changing. There's a chill in the air. It's perfect. So come hang out. It'll be fun. Get your tickets. And that's it. If you want to see a rock and roll band I play with, if you watch this right away on October 1st, it's a Friday, we're at Gibson Community Music Hall in Appleton. It'll be fun. You got to be vaccinated and or have a negative test within 72 hours. And I don't want to hear you bitch about it. You don't have to come to my show if you don't want to come. But there's no, again, my amp's broken. I'm getting old. You got to get vaccinated to come to this show. Nothing to be done about it. Both hands off the wheel. Here we go. I love you guys. Be good. Take care of yourselves. Take care of somebody else. I heard there's a guy named Pat McAfee. He's like he's very funny, and I watch his show every day. And he always says, be a friend, tell a friend. And I like that. So be a friend, tell a friend. Let's keep this thing going. And we'll talk soon. Shit breaks. Don't worry about it. Take it easy. Bye.